Deck the Door Decor is one of the largest online door kickplate brands and manufacturers in the United States. How did it all start?
It's a great question. So the story of Deck the Door Decor is a true underdog story. It's a story about a company that wouldn't die. My mother and I started the business back in 2013. She is a master gardener with an eclectic eye. She was prepping her backyard to be shown in Better Home and Garden magazine. And we had this entry door from the back patio to the garage that she thought needed to be spruced up. So she had the idea to make the first custom door kick plate just using stuff she had laying around the house. So friends and family would come over, they would notice the kick plate, they would ask her where she got it, which turned into them asking her to make them one. That's pretty much how the whole thing started. At that time, I had just graduated college and I had always dreamed of starting a company. She and I had always thrown around the idea of starting a business around the kick plate idea. So I was naive and starry-eyed. I thought it would take way less time than it did. I had no idea the amount of self and professional development that was going to be required to get to the point we're at today. That's turned into a long-running joke here at the shop that's going to be my epitaph, that it took longer than I thought it would. I also underestimated the amount of work required to take her art project and turn it into a scalable, repeatable quality product. In the beginning, we were writing business plans, writing marketing plans, building websites, doing all the things that we think you're supposed to do to start a business. It was a huge learning curve. We examined every aspect of the kick plate manufacturing process and how to modify door kick plates. We toured aluminum smelting factories and tested manufacturing methods from 12 different companies who used 12 different processes before we finally landed on the process we thought was the best. Another challenge we didn't realize we would have to tackle at first was designing custom packaging to be able to ship individual kick plates all over the country. So the mission became to create the best and most expressive door hardware on the market in a sustainable way. In those initial years, we were really excited because we had a prospective business partner who was going to help us co-found the business. She owned a very similar business making custom home decor products and was in the process of selling that business. So her plan was to come help us as soon as she sold hers. Unfortunately, and I don't blame her, she decided to go ahead and retire when she sold that company. So that was pretty devastating. Although in hindsight, it worked out just the way it should have. Shortly after that, we suffered a much larger hardship when my mom had a stroke and was unable to participate in the business or work in any capacity anymore. We never had funding, we never really had savings. We ran out of money really fast, and we put everything we had into the business. I kept moving forward on my own despite these major setbacks because I already had the website up, we had already done all the product development. All that was left to do was to take it to market. So I thought. In 2016, I had a good friend of mine named Dan come help me continue to build the business. We continued to fund everything on my personal credit cards. Disclaimer, Deck the Door Decor is completely bootstrapped, which makes for a great story, but I do not recommend starting a business on credit cards. Dan and I sought mentorship from a well-respected local businessman who groomed startups before he invested in them. We ultimately learned a lot from him, but at the end of the day, ended up having to part ways after about a year because he was 80 years old and didn't really understand e-commerce or door hardware for that matter. Despite all this, our poorly designed website was still generating sales on its own with no marketing, which was a major feat for us because we built it ourselves, and this was in the days before websites were easy to build. Me not being a coder made a really ambitious plan that during the slow winter months, I was going to go through, unplug the website, and completely update the whole website's SEO. So that when spring hit, for that rush, we would hit a new big sales surge. So I bit off more than I could chew. We completely missed that spring deadline. And shit hit the fan. By that time, my credit cards were maxed out, and I couldn't keep up with the payments. So we spiraled out and had to admit defeat. So Dan went back to school and I found a job. So this was one of the most stressful periods of my life. And to give you a picture of just how dire the situation had gotten. I was living in a 600 square foot slum apartment, using my couch cushions on the floor as a mattress to sleep on at night because I didn't have a bed, and I was buying food with change. I was researching what chapter of bankruptcy I needed to file in order to keep rights to the company. So on a Tuesday that spring, I came home from a long day at that new job I had. I was wallowing in my sorrow, facing eviction if I didn't come up with rent by the end of the week. And as I was thinking that my paycheck is still 3 weeks away, my pity party got interrupted by a phone notification. It was a notification from our website letting me know that a company in Boston had just placed an $8,000 order. I read that notification over and over and over because I couldn't believe it. So this order was a saving grace. I could pay rent, I could put gas in my car, I had food, I could keep moving on. But despite that large order and all the excitement, I still had doubts. I was questioning if I wanted to move forward with the company or not anymore, because I was coming off of 4 years of real hard knocks. If I wanted to move forward, it meant I was going to have to pay off all that debt I had racked up. So as I simmered on my decision if I would move forward or not, the website continued to trickle orders. And one of the things that kept me considering to move forward was the fact that we always got thank you notes and emails from customers that were ecstatic with our products, that loved them, that said that they were life-changing, which to me was over the top. I didn't expect that our custom kick plates were going to be that impactful in people's lives. So I knew that something that was that special to everyone else was something we should keep moving forward with. During that time, working in the marketing department for the state's largest psychiatric hospital in Missouri, I met Monica, who is now our Chief Operations Officer and co-founder of Deck the Door Decor. Monica has been essential to getting the business on the right track, and she really breathed some life back into our sales.
When I met Tucker, I was the director of 6 outpatient programs for the hospital and a very large staff. I had been with the organization for over 10 years. Tucker and I collaborated on several projects at the hospital, and we became good friends. Eventually, he shared with me that he sells kick plates in his own business outside of the hospital. I really had no idea what that meant, kind of even sounded silly to me at the time. He did end up sharing a lot more with me about the business, and eventually I saw the potential in both his concept and him. It was late in 2019 that I started taking more interest in the business and helping Tucker with kind of the revamp that he had already started. We moved to completely relaunch the business in 2020. It was fun and an easy effort to start working together. We balanced each other out well. We had growth in 2020, but we had our best year yet in 2021, and my belief in the business was solidly being backed. I was under a tremendous amount of stress working in healthcare during the pandemic at that time. I pulled my team at the hospital through the pandemic and left in August of 2021 to start full-time with Deck the Door Decor.
2021 ended up being our best year to date, mainly because we had excess back stock and we decided to list it on Amazon. And Amazon is where our company has started to scale. We found that the success we were having in sales was because our products are made in USA, they're better quality, and we were able to communicate in a more consumer-centric way. So now that we knew that, we then quadrupled our sales in 2022. We continued to identify large gaps in the market and continued to refine our offerings to meet customers' needs better. So that's when we launched our 3M adhesive mount kick plates. We are the only brand that offers 3M brand adhesive as a standard for this style of kick plate. And it's currently still one of our top sellers. We continue to build products around our customers' needs. We had one customer in particular ask us to design him something special for a problem he had with his dog scratching his door. So we put together a design and sent it off to him and followed up with him to see how it worked. And it turned out to be a home run. We utility patented that design and offered it for sale for everybody else. And to this day, that product is our best seller, the dog scratch door protection plate. These are designed with rounded corners to be pet safe so a pet can't cut themselves on it. They're the only metal option on the market. They're the only stylish and effective way to protect your door from scratches or to cover up scratches you've already gotten. They're the best alternative to the cheap plastic, Chinese-made options that were traditionally available on the market. We've had multiple customers respond back to us and say that these actually save marriages. We just launched them on Chewy.com.
The majority of that growth took shape at home. We started packaging kick plates in Tucker's 600 square foot apartment. Then we moved into the laundry room of the home we share. As we continued to grow, we even hired a part-time employee who worked in that laundry room with us. We eventually hired our full-time employee and trained him there also.
So the home business was really crazy for a while. We had hundreds of kick plates getting shipped out every week, and every kick plate, every piece of packaging, every roll of tape, every material we used had to be brought from the house all the way around to the back of the house, downstairs, through the basement, through our bedroom, into the laundry room shop, and assembled, put all together so that the finished product could be shipped out, and then brought all the way back around the house, all the way up, and put on the porch. So you'd get a ton of steps in every day. And our UPS driver and our neighbors were being really patient with us because every day our porch would be filled up with UPS packages, and we were getting raw metal material shipments blocking the road from 18-wheelers in our neighborhood. It was chaotic. So our business was spread out all over St. Louis. We had all of our packaging stored in a storage unit. We had machinery in my dad's garage, and our whole main production facility was the laundry room.
Although we had a lot of fun in that chaos, it was time to look for a warehouse and a bigger space to meet our needs. We ended up, like I said, hiring our full-time staff, Nick, and training him in the laundry room while we looked for the space to meet our needs. It took a lot longer than we anticipated. Nick continues to be a very important part of our growth and very patient as we expand.
Yeah, it took us about 6 months to find our current shop. And that was because the market was so ridiculous at that point that spaces would fill before they even hit the market, which makes 2024 the biggest and most challenging year for Deck the Door Decor to date. We overcame obstacles that we didn't even foresee. One of which was being defrauded by a large Fortune 500 company. Didn't see that one coming. We had multiple marketing agencies promise us the moon and airball. We had key suppliers go absolutely defunct, and that's just a short list. It's a much bigger list. Despite all these challenges, we've overcome and powered through. I guess education isn't free, right? Something that's invaluable that we got from all of that struggle, though, was the amount of confidence that I have in our company and our team. I know if we made it through this year, we can make it through anything. During the move, which ended up happening in June, which is our peak busy season, we also took manufacturing 100% in-house, which was a pretty big undertaking. Well, which is sandwiching multiple large undertakings into one big mess. So we brought my little brother Victor on as kind of our shop foreman and head of production to do all the metal work. Victor is a master welder and master fabricator. He's worked on some large prestigious projects like guardrails at the Arch Fairgrounds, work at the City Museum, the Art Museum. He even worked on the giant fiber optic globe that lights up the whole Google headquarters building in downtown New York City. So he's the right guy for the job to make sure our standards of quality are met. Within that move, we also bought machinery from 1955, and Victor had to completely restore it. We found that the old school manufacturing methods yield the best result. Although we initially started our business by subcontracting to other US companies for our production, we have found that being a manufacturer brand is the best way for us to be able to make what we want to make, when we want to make it, at the quality level that we want it to be. We never planned to be a manufacturer, but our motto is to be as effective and efficient as possible, and that's the best way to do it.
Our families play a huge role in our lives and in our business. We're very grateful to have experts in pivotal fields to help us along the way. We have master fabricators, plant operations specialists, electricians, and just overall heavy haulers. The support and belief in us has been unparalleled. We're also lucky to have our mascot Parcel here at work with us every day, and for the flexibility to have Etta grace us with her big ideas when she's not busy with school. Running our own business has been an exciting challenge and exercise in growth. We're also indebted to our customer base, who often share their own lives and stories and furry friends with us. We wouldn't be where we are without their participation.
So despite the trials and tribulations of 2024, it was our best year to date. And we're on track to say that same thing again at the end of this year. We're excited for what we've got planned in 2025. It will be a big year. We're just getting started.